Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting video. I have officially made my own TBR game. So my TBR game is based on the Game of Life Adventure Edition. I just absolutely destroyed everything in this box. Whoops. So I've never actually played the original Game of Life. I've only ever played this version of it. I was trying to think of like different board games in my house and was like, no, that wouldn't work. And then I came across this, I was like, okay, I could do something with that. And then I was trying to do something involving like there's so many bits of this game, you know, there's money and all that. And I was like, keep it simple. You don't have to involve money or the houses or anything like that. Just keep it simple. In the end, I have pretty much sorted out my rules, but there is definitely room for changes. If any of you have suggestions, I will gladly take them. But before I actually get into this game, first, a little backstory. So I started watching BookTube actually only probably like 3 or 4 years ago, I think. And when I first started, the only thing I watched was bookshelf tours and bookshelf reorganization videos. What does that say about me? I wasn't actually like subscribed to anyone for a good while. And then I was only subscribed to like less than 10 people. And a lot of those were like really big booktubers. And then one day, in my recommended for you showed up the OG, one of my absolute favorite TBR games, The Wheel of TBR by Cody's Book Corner. And I clicked on it and I loved it. And I like immediately subscribed to her. She'd only been doing it a small while at this time. Definitely helped me find some of my favorite booktubers, and they also have amazing TBR games. So Back in the Books, Bookopoly, Ray Reid's TBR Pursuit, and I just every month I would look forward to their TBR games. At that point, obviously I didn't have a booktube. I was like, oh, if I had one I would totally love to have a TBR game. They're just like really fun ways of having a TBR. Because I did usually, even before I started booktube, I'd like have a list in my head. I'd be like, okay, I want to read like these 3 books definitely this month. And I would usually stick to it because once an idea is in my head, I usually stick with it. It's like, I don't have a booktube channel, blah 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 blah. Right. Then when I actually started my booktube channel, I was like, I can't do a TBR game really. I don't have a lot of physical books on my TBR, so I don't know how I would make it work. And so 2 things changed my mind about this. Okay, so the first thing was there has been just a wave of new TBR games, and I'm trying to think of the ones that come to mind. Player TBR Ride, Dart Attack, Pin the Tail on the Donkey, TBR Jenga. So many people just bringing out more and more, and it's like, I have to do it. I have to. And the second thing last month was Becca's Bookopoly-thon. So I printed out the TBR. I did that. I participated in it. I was like, I made it work, even though I don't have a huge amount of TBR books. If I can make it work for one month, I can surely make it work for all of them. So I will link all of the people, and like if they have like a playlist of their TBR, I'll link all of them down below. And I'm not sure, has anyone ever done the Game of Life TBR? I gave a quick search and I couldn't see anything, but I kind of only skimmed, and it was kind of just showing up all of the like really big TBR games. But I'll do like an in-depth look, and if I do find anyone, I will link them also below. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we are. Here's your first look at my TBR board. So I have a couple of rules, and I will probably put them all in the description so that you can keep track. So the first rule is that I am going to do 6 spins per month. So that will equal around 6 books. Then rule number 2, which this all ties in with the adventure board. I don't think it's the same on the regular board. I've actually never played the regular edition of the Game of Life. So if you roll a 10, you are supposed to move up the pawn closer to your retirement age. That is one of the ways you can finish the game. So every time I roll a 10, I'm going to move up our green little pawn over here. I'm going to move it up 1 space until I get closer and closer to a punishment. And that is going to carry over each game. So if you want a higher chance that I have to get a punishment, do you think I should move up 2 spaces, or is 1 just fine? Then the next rule is also to do with the adventure board. If you land on a 1 on this, you press down and you twist it clockwise and the whole board changes. How you know to stop is this little volcano here. It will tell you a different amount of money. So I'm not playing with money, but every time that it rolls back to the first 80k that you're supposed to start on, I will get a punishment. And I think that is around 4 times, and again, that will carry over through each month. As you can see on the board, there is lots of purple spaces everywhere, and those are blank spaces. So when you land on a blank, you pick up a story card, and there is a red book and a black book on here. So I just spin the wheel again, and whichever color it lands on, red or black, that is the book that I read. The majority of them are books that I want to read, but there is one that I would prefer to read, and then there is a couple that I don't want to read at all. Rule number 5 is if I land on the same color 3 times in the game, so it's the same number, so if I land on this like dark blue 7 3 times in the same game, I get a punishment. Again, this is another one that I am willing to change if you want a higher probability of me getting a punishment, because obviously 6 spins, trying to land on the same one 3 times, it could happen, but it isn't super likely. I could do landing on the same color twice, but I think that might be a little too much of a chance. So again, that is all up to you. But that one, unlike the 10s and the 1s, that does not carry over through each month. And then on this board, there is a load of stops, which are these orange highlighter spaces. I don't actually have to stop on those like you do usually when you play the game. But if I do land on them, I'm going to start counting them. And every time I land on 3, I again will get a punishment. Spin. Yeah, this is the final rule. So the second way to end the game, obviously the first being the little age token, is to go to all 4 islands. And as you can see, there's little tokens all over the place. So once I collect 4 of them, the game is over. I am going to give myself a reward when I eventually finish it. Obviously, I will just restart the game, but if any of you have played this edition, it takes so long. And so that is why when I do that, I actually get a reward, and I'm going to reward myself by just taking any book off my TBR and replacing it with a mood read. So here is where we start, and so this direction we have mystery thriller. I don't read a lot of historical fiction. I also don't read a lot of classics, don't read a lot of sci-fi. I read a bit. Non-fiction, contemporary romance, big book with good representation. And then this is a better route, but it does have a possibility of stopping. So mood read, friend pick, YA fantasy, book club pick, graphic novel, comic, adult fantasy, poll pick, and lowest rated. You will see I have a lot of fantasy spaces. I have them separated into YA and adult because that is my favorite genre to read, and I do read the majority of that, so it's nice to have more possibilities of it. So then this one is mostly blank, but I do have an adult fantasy, a YA fantasy, a big book, a small book, a most recent purchase, and one based on color. So I will spin the wheel, and whatever color I land on, I have to pick a book that color. And then the rest are up to you. So please tell me some interesting prompts that you can come up with. So then over here is our little city. So again, we have YA fantasy, blank, out of my comfort zone, contemporary or romance, sci-fi, 5-star prediction. This is a plain space, so I'm doing it like location based. So it is one that is in a fictional world. Adult fantasy, blank, book club, lowest rated, blank, graphic novel, comic, again another travel space, set in another continent, and then a TBR game, and then SCRIBD. I don't think I mentioned that one. So we have blanks, we have middle grade YA adult, we have standalone and first in a series, we have highest rated, and then we have lowest rated, and then we have blank. And then as you can see on these, there is some text sometimes, or there is sometimes just travel spaces, or there's blanks. But for ones that have text on them, so for example this one says go extreme skiing, for those I'm going to just use it and I'm going to try and think of a book that has something to do with it. So obviously I don't have any books based on skiing, but I could think of one that has a wintry atmosphere or something like that. Spin number 1. Eight. So I think I'm going to take this route. So poll pick. So I will put a poll on Instagram or Twitter and let them decide. So the first spin I landed on poll pick. So I went on Instagram and I put 4 options for people to choose from, and The options I put up were Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff, Heartless by Marissa Meyer, A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab, and A Beautifully Foolish Endeavour by Hank Green. And obviously, I can't tell you yet, but I will put it in. What one? Spin number 2. Our first one. Okay, so, and also our first stop. So that is lowest rated. So I will have to read my lowest rated book on my Goodreads TBR. I landed on lowest rated, so for this I went to my Goodreads TBR, which I really need to organize. I really need to actually add books onto it because there's so many books I'm like, oh, I'll read that, but I don't actually go onto Goodreads and type it in and add it, and I need to do that. And so the lowest rated was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I've heard very mixed things about this. People kind of seem to either love it or hate it, and it's usually the ending that is the thing that decides that. I did actually start this, it was probably last year, but I only read like literally 1 chapter and then I got distracted by something else. I think there's some body horror and stuff in it, so October. Spin number 3. Oh my god! So, another move. I really just jinxed myself, didn't I? So this is a blank space. So our options are A Torch Against the Night or A Gathering of Shadows. Okay, so both of these I'm interested in reading. I think I would prefer A Gathering of Shadows because if you watched, I reread A Dark Shade of Magic this month, but we'll see. So black and red. And that landed on a black. So I will be reading A Torch Against the Night by Saboteur. So spin number 3, I landed on a blank space, and for that I have to read A Torch Against the Night by Saboteur. I have this on SCRIBD. I read the first one back in, I don't know, maybe like May, April maybe? I enjoyed it a lot and I've been meaning to get around to the rest of them. Spin number 4. Oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. Okay, so I will have to do 7 spins. And I really just jinxed myself, didn't I? I really just jinxed myself. And I think we only have one more, we can only get one more one before we get another punishment. So this is another blank. For this one, on it is Lumberjanes Volume 2 and The Fellowship of the Ring. So I would prefer to read Fellowship of the Ring because I'm reading it for Tolkien along. But Lumberjanes Volume 2 is really short, so I don't think that, does that count to move it up? No, I don't think it does. Anyway, it's a red, so Fellowship of the Ring. So spin number 4 I landed on was another blank. I landed on The Fellowship of the Ring, which I am reading for Tolkien along. I have no idea what The Lord of the Rings is about. I've never watched the movies or read the books. The only thing I've ever done is, I think, was there a Lego Wii game? I played like 5 minutes of that at my friend's house at one point. So that's all I know about it. There's something to do with a ring. I think, pretty sure there's an adventure. Yeah. Spin number 5. I swear if this is a 1 again, I will actually scream. Don't do it, don't do it. Oh my god, I thought it was about to be a 1. Alright, so that is a 10. So we move up 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to head over here. 7, 8, 9, 10. So a YA fantasy. That's what I like to hear. And I have now officially collected the city token. So spin number 5, I landed on YA fantasy, and for this I chose The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. I'm so excited for that. I didn't know whether it was YA or adult because it says both on Goodreads, and I'm like, so I guess in different countries it's probably marketed as something different, but I'm going with YA for this because I really want to read it. Spin number 6. Oh my god. Why? 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 I'm gonna get another punishment, I'm pretty sure. No, oh my god, there's a 10k. Oh my god. There is a 10k, guys. It is okay. But another blank. So for this one, the card is either The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I have pre-ordered, or Dark Dawn. I would much prefer to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but I would be okay with Dark Dawn because I want to just finish that series off. Okay, and so that is a red, so I get to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So spin number 6, I landed on another blank, and for this one I spun it, and I got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I was going to read that anyway because I am so excited. Do I even really know what it's about? No. Is it by V.E. Schwab? Yes. Am I gonna read it straight away? Yes. I have pre-ordered the beautiful Waterstones edition. Okay, and so hopefully our final spin number 7, is an 8. Okay, so this is a book club pick. So I'm gonna have to think about this. So my punishment spin, so spin number 7, I landed on book club pick, which was when I realized that I made a mistake putting The Fellowship of the Ring on one of those blank cards because I could have chosen that for this. But anyway, so it was a book club pick. I could choose the second book in the Live Ship Traders, but because that is an October/November read, but I prefer to read them in the second month because then I will have more of a chance of remembering what happens. So pretty sure I'm going to go with The Shadows by Alex North, which is the October pick for the Page Turners book club. I will leave all of them linked down below. I have no idea what that's about. I'm pretty sure it's a thriller or some sort of spooky book. I'm such a chicken. So please give me any like suggestions, prompts, rule changes down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this awkward attempt at a video. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!